Today is the first full day of President Trump's massive reciprocal tariffs. And for months, economists have been warning because of these tariffs, the sky was going to fall and the economy was going to tank. But we haven't seen it yet. Why? We're going to get into it in this video. And I want to start this by saying President Trump is absolutely correct. Under his new tariff policy, the United States has absolutely brought in unprecedented levels of tariff revenue. As of July 2025, the Treasury Department reported Trump's tariffs this year alone have brought in more than $150 billion. And these new reciprocal tariffs that took effect today are only going to increase that number. But as I have been reporting since last year, that money generally is coming from your pocket and the pockets of American businesses, because tariffs are not paid for by the foreign country. Tariffs are paid for by the U.S. importer who brings those foreign goods into the United States. The U.S. importer is the one who writes the check at the port of entry. Now, I want to stop right there, because what happens next is one of the reasons why some of you have not been feeling the full brunt of these Trump tariffs. See, it's up to the American importer, once they bring that item into the United States, what to do with that tariff cost that they have just paid. They have several choices. One, they could pay the tariff, and whatever cost they paid, they simply add it to the price you pay for that item. Two, they could say, oh, the tariff is not that expensive, so instead of turning off my customers by raising prices, I'll just eat that tariff cost in full or in part and cut into my own profit margin. Or three, they can say to the foreign country where they're getting that import, hey, if you want me to keep ordering from you, I need you to split this tariff cost with me. Just last week, the chairman of the Federal Reserve explained what choices those American importers are making.
The evidence seems to be mostly not paid only to a small extent through exporters lowering their price. And companies or retailers, sort of people who are upstream, institutions that are upstream from the consumer, are paying most of this for now.
You heard him. He said the evidence the Federal Reserve has right now shows those foreign countries are not playing ball. They mostly have not been paying the cost of these tariffs. Instead, American importers and American companies have been eating the bulk of that tariff cost. Not all of it, but most of it. And they're generally not passing the bulk of that tariff cost onto you. But did you notice the chairman said that's what's happening for now? He said that because American companies have given every indication to the Federal Reserve that they are absolutely going to be passing more of these tariff costs onto you.
It's starting to show up in consumer prices, as you know, in the June report. And I'll say again, they may be less than people estimate, or more than people estimate. They're not going to be zero. Consumers will pay some of this.
But why now? If they've been eating most of the tariff cost up until now, why would they all of a sudden start passing more of it onto me, the consumer? For a few reasons. One, because these high tariffs that took effect today, like 50% on imports from India and Brazil, 19% on imports from the Philippines and Thailand, and 20% on imports from Vietnam, are just too high. Think logically. You know how American businesses work. Do you really think, out of the kindness of their heart, that they're going to continue to eat the cost of these tariffs and cut into their own bottom line, especially at 50% or 20%? Hell, they've been passing some of the tariff costs onto you because 10 or 15% was cutting too much into their bottom line. The other reason why they're ready to start passing more of these tariff costs onto you is because up until today, Trump has been so inconsistent with these tariffs. One day they're on, the next day they're off, and that injects uncertainty into the market. And when there's uncertainty, businesses usually just stop, and they don't make any sudden movements. But now that these tariff rates are in place and they know the deal, several major U.S. retailers like Walmart, Nike, Best Buy, Adidas, Stanley, Black & Decker, Procter & Gamble, Hasbro, and General Mills, among many others, have said they cannot and will not eat these tariffs anymore, and they will absolutely be increasing the price you pay for clothes, shoes, electronics, and food. How much more? Well, the Yale Budget Lab estimates in the short term, every American household will be paying $2,400 more as a result of these Trump tariffs. And when it comes to a new car, they estimate in the short term, the cost will increase $6,000. They also have this chart, which lists all kinds of goods to show you how much more you'll be paying for certain items. They say, as of today, American consumers are going to be facing an effective tariff rate of 18.6%. That is the highest rate that we have seen since 1933. That was right in the middle of the Great Depression, friends. The last reason I want to touch on for why you aren't feeling these tariffs yet is that it takes a few months once the tariff rate is actually set to work its way through the supply chain and ultimately trickle down to you.